CS1113 Intro to Java, Lab 8.
This lab has three goals: to teach you how to declare and index two-dimensional arrays, to show you how to iterate over two-dimensional arrays with nested loops, and to demonstrate higher dimensional arrays. Creating two-dimensional arrays. In Java, it is possible to create an array of arrays. This is called a two-dimensional array. You can declare a two-dimensional array using two sets of square brackets, as in the code below. As with one-dimensional arrays, two-dimensional arrays can be instantiated using the new command. In this case, we state the number of rows in the first square brackets and the number of columns in the second square brackets. This code creates an array of ints called b with 8 rows and 4 columns. This array holds 8 times 4 equals 32 ints. How would you create an array of strings with 7 rows and 2 columns? String is the type of the array. The square brackets indicate that we have a two-dimensional array. str is the name of the array. New indicates that we're creating a new array of strings. Okay, the numbers in the brackets create the number of rows and columns respectively. Array index. To access an element of the array, we use double square brackets, stating the row index followed by the column index. For example, this code gets the string from str at row 0 and column 1. str is an array of arrays, so we can write str.length to get the number of rows. str sub 0 is also an array, so we can write str sub 0.length to get the length of row 0. What code would you write to set the top right element of str to the string hello? Once again, str is the name of the array, 0 is the number of the row, and str sub 0.length minus 1 is the number of the column. The string hello is what is placed in that spot. What code would you write to set the bottom left element of str to the string goodbye? As before, str is the name of the array, str.length minus 1 is the number of the row, and 0 is the number of the column. Goodbye is what is placed in that spot. Iterating over two-dimensional arrays. To iterate over the elements of a two-dimensional array, we need a nested for loop. The outer loop iterates from 0 to the number of rows, minus 1, and the inner loop iterates from 0 to the number of columns, minus 1, for the given row. What code would you write to set all of the elements of b to the string done? You would use a nested loop. The outer loop iterates over the rows of b, and the inner loop iterates over the columns of each row of b. The inner piece of code sets one element of b to the string done. Higher dimensional arrays. We can create higher dimensional arrays by adding more square brackets to the variable definition and indexing constructs. The following declares a three-dimensional array with a width of 5 in each of its dimensions. Int is the type of the array. The square brackets indicate that it's a three-dimensional array. N is the name of the array. We're declaring a new array, and we're declaring here that each dimension is of size 5. How many elements does this array hold? This array holds 5 times 5 times 5, or 125 total elements. To index an element of n, you would use 3 indices, as in the example here. To iterate over the elements of n, you would need a triply nested loop. What nested loop construct would you use to set all the values in n to 6? We have a triply nested loop. The outer loop iterates over the length of n. The second loop iterates over the width of n, and the inner loop iterates over the depth of n. The statement inside the inner loop sets one element of the array to 6.